This is All India Radio. In the program Spotlight, we now bring you a discussion on initiatives and issues in the agriculture sector during the pandemic. The participants are Dr. A.K. Singh, Deputy Director General, Indian Council of Agricultural Research, and AIR correspondent Renu Kataria.
The Indian government issued 3 ordinances on June 5th for permitting trade in agricultural produce outside the physical boundaries of the Agricultural Produce Market Committees, the APMCs, easing restrictions under the Essential Commodities Act and facilitating contract farming. Is this a win-win situation for farmers and buyers, and how does it boost the farmers and the Indian agriculture?
The government has brought this ordinance after a long time, and APMC Act has been now overcome by the new ordinance. Now the point is the farmers were actually made to sell only in the APMC markets where market restrictions are created. But now with this act, the farmers can sell their produce anywhere. So one country, one market concept has come up. It was a demand for a long time, and the farmers will be able to sell their produce anywhere in the country. So the biggest relief I can see for the farmers, and whatever the produce they want to produce, that will also lead to produce a different kind of commodity which is required in the southern region for the farmers of the northern region, and for the farmers of southern region it will be facilitating that they can produce something which can be consumed in the northern region. So that way the act is benefiting the farmers in a big way. And also a win-win situation is for those who are the traders, because they can buy from anywhere in the country. That is another advantage to them, and they can also facilitate farmers to produce a kind of produce which is required in a particular region. It will also help a kind of, you can say, the contract agreement between the farmers and the traders, what they can produce. And such trade can be conducted in any place of production, collection and aggregation of farmers' produce, including that at farm gates, factory premises, warehouses, silos and cold storage. So there is no ban actually, and many of the farmers producers organizations which are producing different kinds of items like cereals, wheat, rice, oil seeds, vegetables, they can also be purchased and sold under this kind of ordinance, including the animal produce and also the raw cotton and jute and cattle fodder. So this is, I see that's a big advantage for the trade as well as for the farmers.
So we know now that there is freedom for the farmer which is of paramount importance, which has thus also been provided by the government. But how will these ordinances benefit transparent, efficient and barrier-free trading?
Earlier it was a binding for the farmer to go only to the market and sell their APMC market. But now they can talk to anyone and they can sell their produce anywhere. So that's the biggest advantage, and farmers can take actually benefit out of it, because something is demanded in some part, they can produce on demand and they can sell that produce. So I see the advantage for both the sides, the farmer and also the traders. And I find that the prices will be also higher now, because if farmer gets an opportunity to produce certain item which is required for certain place, he can also demand a price in beginning, and accordingly he can produce and sell his produce in that particular market. So it's a win-win for both the parties, I sell the traders and also the farmers, and also I find the consumers, because they will be having more opportunity now to get the produce for a particular area to their own area.
Yes, sir. Talking about the minimum support price over here, the minimum support prices for all mandated crops is increased by the Cabinet Committee. How will this benefit the farmers?
This MSP is done by the government to, you can say, to support the production of certain important items which are essential for the national food security. And that allows a farmer to produce and also gives an opportunity to the government, those items which could be supplied to the country and the farmers and other consumers at large in the country. So you can say they're required for the government also to procure certain food grains which are essential in nature and for the food security. And as of now, during COVID also, you might have noticed that about 80 crore citizens were provided with the free food. And that is how we are able to produce and procure. And largely the commodities like rice and wheat and other core cereals and some pulses also, for which this MSP has been fixed. So MSP actually triggers to produce certain items and government purchases it. Government again has fixed up this MSP 1.5 times more than the cost of cultivation, which is another advantage to the farmer which was not earlier. The government is assuring certain price to a farmer that you produce this much and will be able to procure and this much of price is assured to you. So it is required actually in a bigger country like us where we have got a large population. The smaller countries can afford to buy some food grains from outside and feed their countrymen. But since we are one of the largest country in terms of population, we need to have a kind of MSP system which encourages farmers to go for certain commodities. At the same time, it assures government also to procure certain food items which could be supplied to the consumer at large.
So the good news is that the Government of India has now increased its focus on nutrition security and raising the farmers' income. So can you tell us more on what else is on the agenda of the government, including doubling the income of the farmers?
Many schemes have launched and also the organic agriculture scheme that has come up and all are leading towards that. And special efforts are also being made that can we create a models of doubling farmers' income. If I talk about the Indian Council of Agriculture Research, we have identified 2 villages per Krishi Vigyan Kendra in the country, and KVKs are more than 720 now. And we are trying to create models of doubling farmers' income and integrating different kinds of enterprises in the farmers' conditions. So adopting a whole village is the concept, and that is how it will lead to educate other farmers to go for this enhancing farmers' income at least 2 times. That is what the government is saying. The nutrition aspect is another one which is very important one, and 2-3 initiatives, again, Indian Council of Agriculture Research has been able to bring. One is the biofortified varieties. So we have got more than 50 varieties of crops which have more zinc, more iron, more protein. In case of wheat, even rice, pulses, vegetables. So those 50 varieties we are promoting so that you can say nutritional security can be ensured at least in the women and children. That is the purpose, and it can be a part of midday meal program also of the Government of India. So that is one initiative. At the same time, there are more than 50 lakhs Anganwadis in this country. And these Anganwadis workers are working with the farm women most of the time. So there is another MOU which we are pursuing with the Women and Child Development Ministry through Ministry of Agriculture and also our Indian Council of Agriculture Research. Krishi Vigyan Kendra in the focal point, by which these Anganwadi workers can be trained in the nutritional aspect. For example, Nutri-Garden is one thing which we are trying to pursue in a big way. Smaller Nutri-Gardens around the household so that the round-the-year vegetables, fruits and other materials they could produce on their own round the year and they could sustain their families with certain kind of nutrition. These 2 items are very important. One is the biofortified variety, another is the nutrition gardens, and also nutrition mapping, the kind of products which are being produced in the district, how it can come in a thali of a farmer or farm household. So that is another, you can say, initiative. The 3 components make the whole initiative on the nutrition by Government of India. And doubling farmers' income is again, you can say, the main point to be pursued by all of us. And we are hopeful that this will be able to achieve. And we have seen at 114 locations that almost 1.5 times we have been able to do it. And there is no doubt that by 2022 we will be able to achieve it.
Talking about the rural economy, the recent years we have seen that the rural markets have emerged as an important growth engine in the Indian consumption story. And we have also seen a lot of people migrating, the labours migrating back to the villages. How does India's population living in rural areas present a significant market opportunity?
There are 22,000 rural markets. And they provide an opportunity to provide, you can say, a kind of platform to the farmers to sell their produce. And at the same time, it provides a platform so that anybody who is living in the rural area can come and buy those produce which are available there. So both way it is essential. And the government has given a special emphasis to rebuild those 22,000 rural markets. And the government is trying to actually facilitate with many provisions in those markets. In the agriculture sector, if you look into the production is not now concerned. The actual issue remains with the marketing of the produce. And if we have got efficient markets, then the farmers will be benefited in a big way. They can produce with the assurance that there is some marketplace where they can sell their produce. So rural markets are going to be very crucial points as a benefits to the farmers, as a support system for the farmers. And marketing has been one weak link in the entire production system. If that improves in our country, farmers will be benefited in a big way, and that we are trying to build those markets in a better way. The other aspect has been the storage facility. If around the markets also some storage facility happen, so periods like COVID when the epidemic was there and people were not coming out of their house, and at that time if some storage is there, the farmer can storage produce for some time and wait. So that waiting period is required for a farmer. So storage, marketing, both are very important one. And government has again announced 1 lakh crore for infrastructure building in agriculture. That again will be boosting the whole agriculture sector. I hope so. And the Nayab Panchayat level and also the block level, if such storage come, providing a platform for the farmers, agriculture will be benefited and farmers will be also benefited out of it.
What are the immediate challenges for the Indian agriculture and what structural reforms to be required to push its growth?
The immediate challenges to agriculture sector, what I find when experts talk also, that the climate variability is one challenge which is coming before us. The second challenge, what we find that the resource use efficiency. If you look into the groundwater table going down in the Gangetic plain zone, and there is overexploitation also of the groundwater. Sometimes you also find that chemicals which are being utilized, it's not being utilized in a proper way. So that is another challenge. And also this COVID-like situations bring that a kind of warning and a kind of alarm that if viruses erupt, then it will be again a kind of damage to us. The locust situation again has come up, and we see that how to control locusts. Its breeding is happening somewhere else and they are coming to us in our country and attacking at different places. But if they start breeding in our own country, so their population will be, I can say, create a menace in the entire cropping system. There are 3-4 challenges. One is the climate resilient agriculture, how it can be. The second is the resource use efficiency, whether it is water and soil, and how we can maintain it. Third is pathogens and others which are attacking, like the locust which has come up, how we can control our whole agriculture system out of that. But at the same time, the challenges which will remain in the coming years also, that how the agriculture can be profitable one. The biggest challenge for Prime Minister has fixed up an agenda before us of doubling farmers' income. How agriculture can be profitable. We have seen the models at different locations. A small polyhouse of 2,000 square meter can fetch up to 3 lakhs annually. So even those land holdings which are small in nature, less than 1 acre or 1 hectare, and to the small and marginal farmers, they can be profitable. We have to have a kind of robust marketing system. We must have a kind of storage system that they can keep their produce and they can sell on their own as and when they require. The biggest initiative which the government has taken up is 1 lakh crore for the farm sector that will support in a big way, and also the one country and one market concept. These two are the biggest stimulus I can see as of now declared by this government.
We have been talking about the pandemic, the COVID-19. There are reasons for growing importance of rural marketing in India. Do you think the pandemic is one of the reasons for the growth in rural marketing?
COVID-like situations gave a different kinds of challenge to us, creating a different kinds of communication system, even extension system, how to communicate, how to educate the farmers in this COVID situation, how to do the marketing. All the protocols have to be different. That is how we have to prepare ourselves. And if that happens, the farmers will be benefited in a big way, and the government will be also able to sustain the agriculture sector. And it can support other sectors also, because many of the raw materials which are coming out of agriculture are helping other sectors to do their main businesses. That is how I perceive.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You were listening to a discussion on initiatives and issues in the agriculture sector during the pandemic. The participants were Dr. A.K. Singh, Deputy Director General, Indian Council of Agricultural Research, and AIR correspondent Renu Kataria. This program was produced and presented by the News Services Division of All India Radio. You can listen to it on our mobile app, News on AIR. This program is also available on our website, newsonair.com. You may email your opinion about this program at airnsdtalks@gmail.com.